Now this was an interesting one because this patient had this particular foreign body in their ear canal for probably about 10 years. They didn't even remember having this particular thing done. So I'll explain a little bit more as we go through. But we got three patients in this compilation. It's Katie, myself, and then Katie. So this is the first patient here. Now I think this is what you've literally just seen come up on the screen. So it just looks like plain old bit of wax here, nice and sort of sticky consistency right at the entrance of the canal here, a little bit of dry dead skin, so a bit of keratin at the entrance. So that's quite normal. As we basically, as the skin migrates out of the ear canal, it starts to dry a little bit. And when it gets to the outer section of the ear canal, it's meant to be a little bit sort of stiffer. It gets softened with a bit of oil and it comes out with the wax itself. So it's not unusual to see this drier skin right at the entrance to the canal. What Katie's doing here is trying to detach this plug, this stickier plug from behind, because at the moment it's hanging on to the canal walls. It doesn't want to let the canal walls go. So we're just going to see if we can just maneuver this last section. There we go. Now the problem we've got now is you've got the sticky wax. Now that's free, but we've got this section of keratin at the front here. You can see as Katie's peeling this down the canal, how it's this very thin, almost like a spider webby, wispy, kind of like a sort of gauze consistency, and it's hanging onto the canal wall and that little sticky plug at the back. So she needs to try and negotiate these two things. Now, sometimes you're lucky, and what she's done here, which is a really clever way of doing this, is to hold part of the skin and hold the plug beyond and make these circular movements. And what it's doing then is it's giving you the really good suction grip because you hold on to both things. And by making the circular movement, what you're doing is you're kind of detaching that dead skin from the canal wall whilst also drawing this main bulk of plug down the canal at the same time. There you go. So you can see she's managed to detach that front layer. Now she might be lucky and be able to pull this plug over that deeper section of skin. Now we're just starting to see, if you look at the top right corner of the image, you'll just see that little white, what looks like a sort of oblong at the moment, but it's not. That's actually a grommet. So a grommet is what we use to treat middle ear effusion. So it's more commonly known as glue ear. It's a very, very common condition you find in children. And what happens is you get a lot of fluid that builds up into the middle ear space, which can't drain away particularly easily in kids. So what you'll actually do is make an incision in the eardrum, pop a very thin tube into the eardrum, which allows air to pass through and fluid to drain out. So what that helps it to do then is keep that space behind the eardrum nice and filled with air, and that allows the eardrum to vibrate a lot easier than if it was vibrating against the fluid. So it treats these kind of hearing issues that you get when you're a kid. It's quite a common issue. I think it's something, the statistics is about 80% of children will have a form or a bout of it at some point, mostly up until about age 8. Usually most kids grow to it by that point. It can happen sooner than that, but that's when children tend to sort of the head space grows a little bit more, and then you get that more room for the tubes that drain the fluid down from that particular space. But this young man didn't realize he'd had a grommet when he was younger. He had absolutely no idea. He had no recollection of having the surgery done, and he had no idea that it was actually in his ear canal. So when Katie took this away and said, "Oh, do you realise you've got a grommet in there?" He was like, "I don't even know what that is." But there you go. You can just see the edge of it there. So this is a little plastic tube that goes into the eardrum and just allows that air to pass through into the middle ear space there, and any fluid to drain away much quicker. And you'll actually see to the bottom right corner of the eardrum, you'll see a little sort of almost looks like the eardrum is folded a little bit there, and that's the scar left from where the grommet was inserted. So a really interesting case there from Katie. So we've got 1 centimetre of wax. I think that was just under ½ an inch there. Now I've got a really straightforward one. Well, slightly not quite as straightforward actually, because I took a look in here and said, "Oh, it's jumped to the look. I've been really struggling with my hearing. You know, I came to see you back in July last year, and it's blocked up again." I was like, "Okay, let's take a look." I saw the end of your hearing aid has come off in your ear, and the chap turned around and said, "I don't wear hearing aids." I was like, "Okay." I said, "Do you wear headphones?" He was like, "Yeah, I wear over-the-ear headphones." I was like, "Well, it can't be from that." He said, "Oh, actually, I did do a small stint where I wore in-the-ear headphones." I was like, well, actually, the end of your headphone has come off in your ear canal and blocked the ear canal up, and that's what that was. So a bit like the little rubber domes you get on the end of things like AirPod Pros and stuff like that. That's what this gent had stuck inside his ear. But other than that, looking really good. So I'm just doing a little bit of tidying up afterwards. And you can see there's like just a little layer on the ridge there. So we're just going to get rid of that as well. So today's compilations have all been foreign bodies. So as you can guess, there's one more video coming up, and I'd imagine that probably has a foreign body in it as well. So I'll leave that one up to you guys. But that's the size of the dome that came away, 3/8 of an inch, probably about just under a centimetre across that one with some debris there. So what the patient has here, we've got, not looking too bad actually, ear canal. There is a little hole there. When you get patients like this where you get a little hole surrounded by a lot of wax, it's usually the patient will describe this as intermittent issues. So intermittent hearing, the hearing will be there 1 minute and it'll be gone the next day. But we've got another foreign body. So there we go, a little white one this time. So it's not a grommet, okay? It's not a grommet. That's what you had in the last one. So this is actually something different in this ear canal. I'm not sure, Katie didn't mention whether the patient knew they had this in their ear. Most times when I come across these, I doubt it very much. They don't normally realize they've got this inside their ear canals when they've got it there. But she's just using, this is a Rosen inserter now, because it looks like it's kind of hanging on to a little bit of dry skin. So it's probably been in here a little while. Just pulling. Now this is more common to get, should I just tell you what it is? This is actually, I might as well tell you, it makes it easier to explain. So what we've got here, this is actually what they call a filter, and it's found in the end of hearing aids. So its job is to stop any wax from getting inside the hearing aid and damaging the electronics of the hearing aid. So you're more likely to get these popping off, not so much in the over-the-ear type of hearing aids, because they're usually covered with a dome on the end so that the filter can't come out, but more likely with a custom hearing aid, so the ones that don't have the back section, it's just made for this part of the ear, because the filter tends to be just stuck into the end. So if a patient hasn't quite inserted it properly, sometimes they will pop out into the canal itself, and that's what we're seeing here. So she's using a Rosen inserter. She's a little bit unlucky here because this filter is actually stuck on this flap of dry skin, which isn't responding particularly well to suction, but she's just going over the top now and pulling this out. There we go. She's managed to get it all the way. So inside that little, it looks like a little hat from this but if you imagine like the inside of the hat, there'll be a very fine filter in there, little fine gauze in there, which stops that wax from getting down. And if your hearing aid breaks down, if you've got private hearing aids, if you're feeling, it's not quite working the way it should, you're really struggling with the sound, 9 times out of 10, it's that actual filter that's blocked, and that's what's causing the issue. So just clearing away this outer section, not so easy to do with these ones because it looks like there's a little bit of skin and there's not a tremendous amount of room. It's a narrowish canal, this one. So just pulling this last little bit. There we go. And out that comes. No Taylor Green, obviously. I'm here on my own today. Taylor will be back next week for the videos next time. We actually got a few of the videos voiced over together. We get an hour a week together now, so if he's running behind or I'm running behind, it's always difficult to try and get us together for the full hour to be able to do all the videos. So we've only managed to do 4 this week. So that reminds me, guys, if you do enjoy the videos, you can always become subscribed to the channel. You can always like, heart, share, follow and subscribe. Let's do it properly. And if you really enjoy the videos, you can also consider becoming members of the channel, because we post 2 extra days worth of videos every single week. That's on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So you get extra videos every single week. And then, yeah, you get to see full compilations on those days as well. So check yourself out. If you're really enjoying the videos, go and check that out. Eardrum is looking really, really healthy on that side. Just finishing off, excuse me, a little bit more tidying up to be done. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. There we go. Just around this outside edge, mostly dry skin around that side as well. You can see she's kind of not happy with this one bit. She's just trying to get this little bit of dry skin off. There you go. And then other side, not looking too bad actually. We can see the eardrum there, looking nice and healthy. Not really going to cause too much of an issue on this side. But a lot of patients, if you say to them, that you've got, just checking just to see whether that is a perforation or a retraction pocket. Not always easy to tell, especially with a standard oroscope. It's not always easy to tell. With the endoscope, you can get in that little bit closer. You can get a good look in there, see exactly what is going on. So you can use the endoscope to get right down in there and have a good old nose around at that eardrum. If you're still unsure, what I'd recommend you do then is a little bit of what they call tympanometry. So tympanometry is a test we can use to check the integrity of the eardrum and also check the amount of sound that gets passed through that eardrum into the middle ear space. There's something called compliance. So what you're looking for there is you'll be able to tell straight away, have you got an ear perforation to the eardrum, how well the eardrum is able to vibrate, whether there's any alteration or whether there's any change in the pressure of the air behind the eardrum, whether there's any fluid present. It's a really handy test to do. So if you're a bit unsure, always refer on for tympanometry if you can get it done. We're quite lucky we've got a tympanometer here that we can use quite regularly, and it is really handy, especially in children's tests as well. It's always really handy for those. So that little bit of dry skin now at the top of the canal. So Katie's just trying to find the best angle here now for the right curette. There we are, out that comes. Excuse me. A bit more, I think that's suction. Couldn't tell whether it was suction or the forceps down. I think that's suction. Yeah. So she's doing a little bit of tight down. She accidentally just picked up a little bit of dry skin, and that's always the case when you got the fine end. You try to take away skin, you'll guarantee there'll be a flake on the outside of the ear canals. You've got to push it, it'll just catch the end of the suction and it's blocked, you can't get it out. So she's just tidying this one side up. I would definitely be recommended this patient use some olive oil. Obviously we know they wear hearing aids because we could see a filter on the other side. So in this case, use the olive oil last thing at night. It gives it a chance to absorb into this outer section of the ear canal, into that skin there. So you don't get this oil blocking the hearing aids when you put them in the morning. Just do it last thing at night. Just gives it a chance to kind of absorb in. That was actually a retraction pocket, it wasn't a perforation there. So we're 2.5 centimeters, just about an inch there as well. Well guys, thank you very much for watching our video today. If you want to see another foreign body video, I've got a good one for you. Have a little look at, check this one out in the top corner if you're watching this on YouTube. It's a good one, so make sure you check that foreign body video out as well. But until next time guys, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another as well. And I shall see you in the next video. Bye everybody.